82 degrees as we start this game between Crimson Tide and the Bruins, who both had to deal with some cool weather over the weekend. Ben Hess ready to go against Carson Shacklett. Fastball low begins this game at Sewell Thomas Stadium. Shacklett now in his junior season from Brentwood, hitting .362 for Belmont. Again, a good table setter for an offense that, as a team, hitting .285. These guys get on base at a high clip.
And like you said, when they get on base, they're wanting to run. And so you're going to look for Dominic Temez, Ben Hess, and as a bigger guy, it's harder to kind of control the running game. So the easiest way to control the running game, Roger?
Keep him off base.
Don't let him get on base. That's it. You nailed it.
Well, right now, Ben Hess behind 3 balls and no strikes. Home plate umpire is C.J. Burdett, ruling on all the balls and strikes today. And he's in the zone for the first time. Shacklett's second straight year, he has been the leadoff hitter for Belmont. Hit .260 last year, and he drew 40 walks. That was a top 5 mark in the OVC. He draws a walk to begin this game. Crimson Tide defensively today, a little bit of a different look, as the Crimson Tide will feature William Hameter in right field. It's good to see him back in right field, Lance, for the first time since the second weekend of the year back in late February.
Yeah, especially now, since he's back out there, the foot has to be feeling really good. And that was the biggest thing is, did they rush back? He was good enough to hit, and you saw early on when he was running, he had kind of hobbled a little bit, but this past weekend, played every game, and then now an outfield shows that he's feeling really good.
It's good to see Hameter back out there again for the first time since week 2 of the season when he suffered that broken foot injury against Texas. John Barron's a big swing and a miss at a fastball. First team all OVC last season, John Barron's. Native of Chattanooga, went to the Macaulay School. It's at high, but foul, stays down in the count, no balls, 2 strikes. Barron's checked in at number 97 in the country in D1 Baseball's top 150 outfielder power rankings. Not only the All-OVC first team last year, but preseason All-OVC first team this season as well. One of the key bats for Belmont. The 1-2. Went to the curve, missed just outside, 2-2.
We've already seen a couple close pitches, but C.J. Burdett's got the strike zone he wants, and you got to get into it first. Especially, you got to establish yourself knowing that you're going to throw strikes before you can expect, to get the low pitch, to get a ball maybe, 1 ball off the plate.
It's popped up. Temez giving chase. That's to the crowd here in Tuscaloosa. Shacklett into his leadoff first base. 5 stolen bags on the year. Hess strikes him out. Good fastball at 94 miles per hour for his first K.
With just the way it was set up, Roger. The pitch right before that, you had a breaking ball off the plate, then you went change up for a foul. Just, you think, slow the hitter down, speed him up right there at the 94.
Hess has had multiple strikeouts in all of his outings so far for Alabama. I'll focus on Guy Lipscomb. Lipscomb, one of the key leaders for Belmont now in his sophomore season from Franklin. He's a tough guy to strike out. He's only struck out 6 times in 112 at-bats this year. 12th best ratio in the nation. Away with a fastball, 2 balls and a strike to Guy Lipscomb.
Roger, you talk about those 6 strikeouts, and it's not like, okay, he's just here punching Judy and he's hitting 220. Guy's hitting 393, and so he's looking to hit. That just shows you how tough he is to strike out, but also, you know, the hand-eye coordination. He puts the bat to the ball a lot.
Knocks that one foul, 2-2. Couple of home runs for him this season, along with 23 runs batted in. Two. Chop foul. Lipscomb's going to make Ben Hess work for this 3rd strike.
I mean, it comes to mind like Juan Pierre, right? A guy that was very tough. A lot of Marlins, I forget kind of where else he played, but like you didn't have to worry about. He wasn't driving in runs, but I mean, right here, Lipscomb 2nd on the team in RBI, so he's driving in runs as well, and that's tough when you have a guy that can do that as well.
Check swing. He wins. A rare strikeout for Guy Lipscomb, and Hess has back-to-back.
Roger mentioned a lot of it has to do with Hess's command of the fastball, because the fastball's good and he can throw it for strikes. It makes this all-speed piece. That's a changeup down and away, and like you said, how tough of a guy to strike out. And you go out there knowing your stuff, trust it, puts that changeup out and away and gets the strikeout. A little check swing.
Brody Heaton, cleanup batter, first baseman. Takes that changeup just a bit low. Heaton certainly supplies the power for Belmont. 5 home runs, 24 runs batted in. Fastball just missed, lower outside corner. Now Heaton in front, 2 balls, no strikes. Newburgh, Indiana native. Going up against one of the top prep pitchers coming out of the state of Illinois, Ben Hess. Looked to first base by Hess. Well, 3-0. Lifted foul and out of play. Williamson gave a long chase, but that's to the seats here at Sewell Thomas Stadium.
Seeing more and more of that, Roger. 3-0 swinging. I know I think Jacob Gonzalez from Ole Miss hit a 3-0 home run this past weekend, but a lot of times you just didn't see that. I remember one time we had a guy swing and he went off the scoreboard and it was like, oh, wow, that's what you're supposed to do, 3-0 for sure.
He's got that kind of power. Hess makes it a full count. Leadoff walk to Shacklet. Now an opportunity for Hess to get 3 straight strikeouts to close out the inning. Payoff pitch. Just missed outside. So second walk of the inning, and Brody Heaton is aboard. It's been a long inning in terms of pitches for Hess, already up to 28. It's been stretched out to as much as 67 as he's worked his way back from off-season injury. Didn't start tossing for Alabama in games until March 9th. Jarvis with a big swing and a miss on a fastball. Logan Jarvis, third baseman, the son of the head coach of the Belmont Bruins, Dave Jarvis. 260 average for him this season. Curveball miss, 1-1.
We've seen all 4 pitches from Ben Hess just this inning. A lot of times starters try to, maybe hold something back. I don't want to show the curveball early, or maybe the slider. Just depends on what your best, breaking ball you feel. You might want to show one later, but he's breaking everything out.
The 1-1. Hit high, but foul. Now it's Hess in front of the ball and 2 strikes. Hess trying to close out the first inning. Just chipped foul. Jarvis sticking around. Two on with 2 gone. 3 strikeouts in the inning.
You see he's in a good spot. A lot of protection around him. Hitting behind Jarvis, the guy you expect to be on base. So you're thinking, hey, going to have a bigger hole as a left-handed hitter. If Jarvis gets on the first, you got a big 4-hole. Then you got, Zane Denton, Drew Williamson, 2 guys that are swinging a very hot stick.
And with William Hammeter coming back and playing in right field for the Crimson Tide, there aren't as many question marks right now with this lineup.
Yeah, his bat provides such a big spark, and just it lets guys that in the lineup.
Sky deep to right by Jarvis. Grab made by Behrens.
It lets guys in the lineup, move down a spot, which all of a sudden makes the bottom of your lineup that much better.
Behrens making that nice grab in right field. He'll get acquainted with all of the right field Rangers student section behind the right field wall throughout the game. Joined in the outfield by Guy Lipscomb in center, Carson Shacklett in left. Logan Jarvis anchors the infield defense at third base, along with Brody Heaton on first base.
That's the defense also fielding .983, so they do a good job, built on speed, a lot of speed. Defense is good. A lot of times it just comes down to now, can you pitch the ball?
A lot of good results. Bruins 21-11 this year, 7-2, off to a very good start in OVC play. First strike on Hodo with that foul ball. When he's played, he's been hitting .250. That's 5 for 20 at the plate. 8 strikeouts in his 20 at-bats, but he's got plenty of power.
Yeah, you're talking about big-time power. You talk to some of the coaches, and they feel he might have the most pop on the team. It's just going to come down to getting the consistent at-bats, taking the BP, the practice-type games, scrimmages, that kind of power against somebody else, and that just takes consistent at-bats.
6th start of the year for Hodo today. Full count. Payoff pitch. Rolls it right to second. Capobianco tosses him out, 2 away. Scoreless game in the bottom of the first as Zuger tries to get the Bruins off to the kind of start they need. We heard from their head coach Dave Jarvis may see as few as 5 and 6 pitchers today, as many as 9 or 10, just trying to piece this game together.
That's one of those for the sake of us. I hope it's just the 5. I hope it's on the lower end of that number.
A lot of it will depend on Zuger in these early innings. As he goes up against Zane Denton, who clobbered 2 home runs, drove in 5 runs over the weekend against Ole Miss. Seeing a lot of familiar faces. He's a native of Brentwood, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville, where Belmont calls home, and Belmont's roster built with a lot of players from not only Tennessee, but also right around the Music City. Fastball didn't miss by much.
No, he's all around the zone. Even those 2 breaking balls weren't really far off the plate, but this is the type of guy I like to see. I mean, he's not going to overpower you. Just supposed to be able to throw strikes, but looks like he's nibbling just a little bit. That's a good pitch, 3-1. 88 miles an hour, ball's in on his hands. And right there, that just shows you don't have to throw, 95 plus. It's great if you can, but you can still spot 88 wherever you want to if you can pitch in and out with it. But that's the whole part is if you have 88, you got to learn to pitch in, out, up and down, top and bottom of the strike zone.
His payoff pitch to Denton. Low, and there's a 2-out walk. William Hamiter to the plate. First one misses inside, blocks by Campbell. Keeps in at first.
Yeah, it's a really good block, especially first pitch. You're thinking breaking ball. That's not what you're thinking as a hitter. So the runner, if you see that ball down, able to get the scoring position, a good block right there by Campbell. Not only the block, kept it in front of them and then bounced onto it. That way Denton wasn't able to take that base.
Check it first to Denton, who does not have a stolen base this year. Hamiter to deep right center. Barron's there, and the catch nearly dropped out of the mid right into the left hand of John Barron's. Inning over.
Yeah, he has a little fun with it. John Barron's right there. Sometimes you just take your eye off the ball just a little bit. Look at that, rolls right down his arm, right into his hand. Sometimes better be lucky than good.
Alabama students on this Tuesday afternoon making their way on campus to Sewell Thomas Stadium, hanging out in right field for the Tide and the Bruins. Just a perfect afternoon for baseball. Start at the top of the second. Ben Hess working to Tommy Kreider, the DH for Belmont. Starts with a slider inside. Three strikeouts in the past inning, along with 2 walks for Ben Hess. Had to work a lot, 33 pitches. Let's get through the first inning, but no hits allowed. Lasered to left. On the run, Tommy Seider.
Nice job of going down and getting that ball, scooped it out of there. Actually hit too hard. It's one of those ones you wish you could have got a little bit more off the end of the bat. That would have dropped right over Jim Jarvis for a hit.
Leadoff batter set down by Hess. Jack Capobianco, the second baseman.
That's the second, just kind of excuse me swing that we've seen from the Bruin hitters. And it might be just the thing they're not really picking the ball up out of Ben Hess's hand. And for Hess, that's a good sign.
Back to the fastball for strike 2. .218 average this season for Capobianco. Started the last 2 years at second base. Inside fastball, just missed inside, 2-2. Last one coming in at 95 miles per hour from Hess. That was 2-2. Back to the heater, fouled away. What makes his fastball so good?
Well, just because the ball jumps, he's a big boy, so he pitches up in the zone. And if he can pitch up in the zone, but the hard part about that is you got to get the umpire to call it. You know, that's the one thing. These umpires are starting to kind of shrink the strike zone and make you throw the ball over plate. But they're, again, you know, it used to be like the strike zone looked more of a skinny rectangle where you'd go a little bit wider, but it wouldn't go high or low. But if you bring the ball back on the plate, you got to give the whole strike zone. And because when the ball passes at the belt, that is, you know, that should be called a strike. You have letters basically right under the letters to the knees, and they don't really call that belt high fastball. And if he gets the belt high fastball, you better watch out.
Down the right field line. Base hit up against the wall. First hit of the game for the Bruins is courtesy of Jack Capobianco. One-out double here in the second.
Yeah, leave it to the guy hitting .218 to get that first hit, right? But then, look, that's the belt high fastball. Inner third, exactly what you want to see as a hitter. That's where, you know, most lefties like it down right there. Capobianco shows he wants that ball right there. Nice little double.
Back-to-back innings, Belmont's had a runner in scoring position. Now Jackson Campbell settles in from the right side. This gets past Temez. Capobianco to third base.
I'm
going to say Capobianco and Zane didn't know each other. They look to be saying something to each other with big smiles.
Wild pitch putting him at third. There's Aaron Smith, associate head coach of the Bruins, talking with Jack Capobianco. Fastball just missed, 2-0, just as the infield start creep in for Alabama.
That's something they've started to do. It really worked against, I think it was South Al, right, last week. They crept in. You know, the third base coach is not necessarily looking. The base runner doesn't see it, and all of a sudden, the ground ball, and you go on first movement. Now, all of a sudden, you got infield in.
Deep to right, this should bring in the run. Amateur with the grab. Throw is high, Temez the tag. Again, and he got him. Double play. We'll work around a 2-out walk in the last inning to Alabama. No swing by Seidel here, and the count evens to a ball and a strike. Breaking ball for a strike. Seidel was 4 for 12 over the weekend against Ole Miss. The Harvard transfer settled in nicely in this starting outfield mix for the Tide. Zuger with the 2-2. Got him swinging. First strikeout for Jordan Zuger.
Outside of that 2-out walk, I like what I've seen from him. Just under control. The mechanics are pretty. Look at that. That's just a very good breaking ball. Perfectly placed. You don't see many freshmen can put the ball right behind home plate. A lot of times freshmen, you know, and young pitchers go to bounce it. You'll see the ball bounce in front of the plate, and it becomes a non-competitive pitch, but that was money.
Money at the plate this weekend for Alabama was Drew Williamson, as he drove in 8 runs against Ole Miss, highlighted by a Saturday grand slam. He was 4 for 10 over the weekend with that home run and the 8 runs batted in. Up the middle, but right into the shift for Taylor, the shortstop. They're 2 away.
Analytics right there. I mean, that was perfectly placed. Ball was smoked by Drew Williamson off the mound. Zuger had no shot to make a play. So you're thinking as a pitcher, that ball is smoked off the mound. You're like, oh, that's a hit up the middle.
Grayson Taylor right there.
Absolutely. And all fans wonder, why do they shift like that? Because that's where they hit it.
Belmont coaching staff putting their work in, and it showed. And again, this is a Belmont team that does not miss much defensively. .983 fielding percentage. Pinkney, after showing bunt, takes a strike. Showing it again, that went behind his back.
Boy, if you're Pinkney, that's someone you want to stand up. 74-mile-an-hour curveball. You're not gonna get a chance. Yeah, takes it off the, the back of the shoulder or whatever. That's an easy opportunity to get on base. Most of the time nowadays, these guys throwing that hard. 74, you'll take that one.
Sprays that one foul, 2-2. May see him a lot more in center field moving forward for Alabama. William Hammett back in the lineup today in right field after he's coming back from injury. You'd seen a lot of Kate Rose in center, Pinkney in right. Coach Bo has called those two kind of interchangeable at times, but Pinkney's been backing it up at the plate this season, in addition to his good defense.
Yeah, he sure has. And showing a little pop, too. 4 home runs. On-base percentage is at .398, which that's really good for Andrew Pinkney. Getting that average over 300 as well.
He'll strike out looking to close out the inning, and Jordan Zuger with a 1-2-3 second with a pair of strikeouts against the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, again, love the way Jordan Zuger has thrown the ball so far. This is just a fastball outside part of the plate. Spots up nicely. Keeps it a 0-0 ball game.
Crimson Tide and the Belmont Bruins scoreless as Ben Hess goes back to work in the top of the 3rd. Grayson Taylor, shortstop for Belmont. Only batter he hasn't faced so far. First pitch fastball fouled back. Saw Taylor make a nice play defensively on the ground out for Drew Williamson, Jr., who is a native of the state of Alabama from Coleman. Tough to the right side. Williamson to Hess, wins the foot race.
Rogers, this is a nice job right here. Look at this PFP, pitcher fielding practice. Drew Williamson does a good job of going get it because it's slow. If you let it get to Ben Eblin, that could be a chance for a hit. Ben Hess does a great job covering the bag. Exactly what you want to do. You go through that all the time, every day at practice. 3-1, first base to pitcher.
Carson Shacklett now back at the plate. So your time in the big leagues, who was the best defensive first baseman you played with?
Man, Carlos Pena was unbelievable when it came to, picking. Adam LaRoche was good for the Braves when I was there with him. Let me try to go through. Kevin Millar was first base in Baltimore. He was a lot more known for the hitting.
Cowboy up.
Yeah, a lot more known for cowboying up with the bat instead of the glove. One thing that Kevin Millar did probably better than anybody is he might have come off the bag on every close play. Like he would catch the ball from the shortstop, and he might have been off the bag just a tad bit before the runner, but the umpires never called it because he'd come off that bag, catch it, and throw it around like, this is how I do it.
No replay back then.
No.
Yeah.
So let's try to think of who else. Tony Clark played a lot of first base.
Head of the Union now.
You hear the name, head of the Union. He played first base in Arizona. but he was a lot more known for the bat. I think he had like 30-something home runs that year. So I would probably have to go with Adam LaRoche or Carlos Pena.
Two pretty good answers.
See, like in Tampa, you have the turf, right? That's where Carlos was playing. But it's not like the fields where you see, because around the base pass, it was still dirt. And so, yeah, you think of turf, a lot of times those guys pick that ball easy off the turf. But this ball, so when it would come from the turf, you could use the turf for the skip. But if those ones that were short hops, they were in the dirt, and Carlos Pena did it as good as anybody.
Shacklin drew a walk his first time up. Now locked in the 3-2 count against Hess. Payoff pitch. Lofted to right field, nearing the line. Hammeter won't get to it. Just out of play, a foul ball.
We're getting a chance right now to see is how healthy is William Hammer's foot. I mean, he's made a couple plays. He had to go get the ball in the corner on that double. Made the throw from the outfield, but right there, that's a long way to run to try to get to that ball.
Four strikeouts, Ben Hess.
Just a defensive swing right here. 3-2, you got to expect the fastball right there. And maybe not as bad as I thought it was, but Ben Hess, 94 miles an hour, and that's down in the zone. That's perfectly spotted. That's huge for him. And now you go 3 up, 3 down, you don't have to face Mr. Guy Lipscomb with a man on base.
No story about Lipscomb in the 4th inning, trying to set down Behrens. With 2 gone in the top of the 3rd in what has been a scoreless game between the Tide and the Bruins. Curveball just missing outside. Seems like he's been hitting that spot consistently with the curve.
Yeah,
it's just not being called a strike.
Zuger did as well. Two balls up a little bit. That curveball just up in the zone, not enough. Want to see that fingers come in front of the ball a little bit more, maybe pull through a little bit more hand speed.
Back to the fastball, 1-2.
It's always nice to be able to just go right back to that 93, 95 mile heater.
The 1-2. Got hit.
He had to go through to break the color barrier. I mean, you can hear some of the stories, and some of the stories you don't even want to hear, just with the way, some of the stuff was just so bad that he had to go through.
Leadoff single for Bryce Eblin to begin this inning for the Crimson Tide, as he will go to first base right up against Matt Rada, the assistant coach for the Crimson Tide that wears number 42.
Yeah, you don't see many guys wear it anymore. Remember when I was playing, Mariano Rivera was the last guy that got a chance to wear it because that's what his number was, so they let him finish out his career. But I thought that was a very, unbelievable gesture by Major League Baseball to retire his number. Nobody else can wear it. But that was one of the cooler parts, too, though, on Jackie Robinson Day when everybody would wear 42. It started. Nice play.
Safe at second. The out is recorded at first.
Nice hustle by Bryce Eblin. But it started where certain players would get to be picked and choose to wear that 42. Then it got to be the whole team. And so for me, in 2011, I was with the Los Angeles Dodgers, and that was special because that day I got to wear a Dodgers number 42 jersey, and we got to take that home. So that's still that's one of the things that I remember, and I'll always cherish that jersey.
Matt Rada wearing number 42 for the Crimson Tide, assistant coach, again retired all throughout Major League Baseball, but in college baseball, still certain teams will wear number 42. Just anything we can do to talk about Jackie Robinson and remember his legacy and bring it up to the next generation is really important.
I mean, because a lot of times you don't see, I grew up a baseball fan. It wasn't about, yes, I played baseball, but the card collecting, you don't see that anymore, right? Just really watching SportsCenter, watching baseball. Growing up, we had WGN and TBS. You could watch the Cubs or you could watch the Braves.
Every day.
Yeah, didn't matter where you were. Every single game they were on. And so, like, I love the game of baseball. And so that's what, you know, teaching these young kids about Jackie Robinson is the most important thing, because then they know the history behind it.
How about Jim Jarvis getting an RBI single to give Alabama a 1-0 lead?
This is Alabama's favorite inning to score runs. Jim Jarvis makes sure they continue to do that. Little more or less C&I single up the middle, but sometimes you just got to hit the ball where they're not.
14th RBI for Jarvis this year. Now Will Hodo. Opportunity to keep it going in this bottom of the third.
Yeah, I don't know why, Roger. I mean, obviously you can say second time around, but when you look at, you know, their opponents, Alabama outscores their opponents now 40. Oh, this is the bottom of the third. I'm thinking it's the fourth. I'm jumping ahead. Watch out. But watch out for next inning for Alabama, because they score a lot of runs then, too.
Well, there's one thing with the Crimson Tide this year, and I don't have any numbers to back this up, but a lot of times the bottom of the order, and it's been in rotating casts at the bottom of the order, has had really good production. That's why you've seen, even though, you know, Dominic Temez, Bryce Eblin may be down there today, at times Drew Williamson's been down there, and then they've gone back to the top. Just any time it seems like there's a bottom of the order, it does well for the Crimson Tide.
You're right. That's one thing that Coach Bo has shuffled a lot, is the lineup. Not necessarily the guys in it, but the positions that they hit. Zane Denton has obviously settled in as the 3. Jim Jarvis is the 1. But early on in the season, we saw Drew Williamson in the 1. But like you mentioned, Drew Williamson's been down to 8. Pinckney's been 9. Eblin's been 9. All these guys have moved around. And so at least they know they're going to be in the lineup for the most part. But then mixing around, a lot of depends on right-handed hitter, right-handed pitcher, left-handed pitcher.
And Coach Bo's lineup today, you have the first 4 batters will all bat from the left side against Zuger. Odo sends that to shallow right center. Second baseman Capobianco with the grab for out number 2.
I like the way Jordan Zuger has thrown the ball. I mean, that base hit to Jim Jarvis is not like that ball was hit very hard. So he's done a nice job right there. You saw a breaking ball in on the hands for Will Hodo.
He's really given Belmont, in what is basically a full staff day, like we see a lot in midweek college baseball games, he's given them exactly the start they've needed, even though he's now trailing by a run. But against one of the better offenses in the SEC, Coach Dave Jarvis will gladly take this.
Yeah, when you're talking, I mean, your job as a starting pitcher is to keep the team, give them a chance to win. Right now, if it ended in this inning right now, you'd have to say, yeah, Jordan Zuger, he's given us a chance to win.
Send a good curveball to Denton. Denton's first time up worked a walk, became Alabama's first base runner back in the first inning. A balk call that'll send Jarvis to second base. Gives Denton an opportunity with a runner in scoring position. He's been hitting it .289 with men in scoring position this year. Waves to a breaking ball, 1-2. Zuger a strike away from getting through this third inning. Runs inside, 2-2. Went back to the breaking ball.
Yeah, both of them have been really in. And I thought the ball that Zane Denton swung at was probably the ball. You don't really see him chase very much, but that ball was, you know, so close to hitting him. Just showing they're really trying to keep his arms from getting out and getting extended.
That one flips outside to make it a full count. First base open with 2 gone. Rolled foul.
about his weekend, especially Saturday, Sunday? 2 huge 2-run home runs late in the game. When your team needs it, you look for a guy to come through. Zane Denton came through for Alabama.
9 homers this year, and that's a team high. That's good. Tie for 9th in the SEC. Way out in front there. Also leads Alabama with 30 runs batted in. His slugging percentage best on the team at .567. Eighth pitch of the at-bat. Curveball into right center field for a base hit. Jarvis scores. The throw to second. Denton is out there. Seen that energy come to the field today like you want to after a good sweep.
Yeah, you know, you guys heard me talk a lot for 3 or 4 weeks when we weren't playing great about how I'm glad we get back out there the next day. I kind of wish we had a week off like football, you know. I wish we could have enjoyed it. You know, we're on the bus ride Sunday night and, you know, we're looking at the video of Belmont and learning them. But, yeah, you know, we played great over the weekend. The kids had good energy. These guys, they love each other and they love to play, and that's never been an issue with this group. So glad they had some short-term success. We got a lot of season left and a really tight game today against a good club. We need to finish well. Yeah,
a lot of game left in this one. Coach, thank you for joining us.
All right, thank you, guys.
That is Brad Bohannon, the head coach of the Crimson Tide, now in his 5th season here in Tuscaloosa.
You know, Roger, you hear, if you've ever heard an interview from Coach Bohannon, that's exactly what he talks about. The players he said they just like being around each other. And when in the game of baseball, you spend so much time, you know, at the field. I mean, these guys come to the field probably 1 o'clock. Some of these guys, you know, might be even earlier.
Eblin tracks that down off the bat of Lipscomb, one of the best bats for Belmont, retired to begin the 4th.
You know, let's think about if it's a Wednesday practice tomorrow. You might be here at 1 o'clock and you're leaving at 6:30, 7 o'clock, and you just spend so much time with these guys. Some of them might even live together. So over the course of that time, usually you think like, they stop wanting to hang out. No, he said this team just really plays hard for each other. And the biggest thing that I always hear from him, he said, they pull for each other. And that's it's very tough to do because you always want to be the guy out there on the mound or in the field at the plate. And if it's not your turn, it's somebody else's turn. You know, sometimes guys kind of sulk a little bit and maybe hope that the other guy doesn't do good so they can go out there. But he said, you can't tell from here. He said, it's just a good group of guys. And that's what makes playing fun, when you have a good group of guys around you.
Well, that's what helps when a team goes through the ups and downs of a season like we've seen for Alabama. We've seen that with some midweek losses throughout the month of March. That was just one thing that this team had a tough time with. Obviously, the close losses against Florida and Mississippi State to start conference play. But they've really hit their stride with the way they played against Texas A&M. Able to keep it going this past weekend against Ole Miss.
Well, I think a lot of the midweek stuff, I think he said he lost like 4 midweeks in a row. And a lot of that was, you know, finding the right pitching. You know, Ben Hess was just starting. Those were, you know, 3 of his first, you know, 5 starts and trying to figure out. And, you know, you give up a run or two and now you see him rolling. You give up a run or two early in the game and you're playing catch up. And that was the biggest thing. He says, because production from out the lineup, he said, we were always playing catch up. And now they're getting that production. And I wish he would have kind of spotlighted somebody else who he really felt like was good. He almost you could tell he almost wanted to, but didn't get into it. But I agree with him. And you're starting to see, you know, the averages right around 291 entering today. But the guys that play every day, they're getting up there. I mean, right now, I think 7, 8 guys, 280 or above.
And everyone's got some power.
Right.
Denton leads away with 9 home runs, but I mean, consistent. Pinckney's got 4, Williamson's got 5. Owen Diodati not in the lineup today, but he's been a consistent power hitter this season.
Yeah, putting Bryce Eblin, William Hamner in there, that's 9 guys, 280 above with a lot of at-bats.
Right now, second time through the lineup, Ben Hess is looking really sharp. He has struck out 3 of the last 4 he's faced, and now ahead 0-2 on Logan Jarvis.
See, a big thing about that, too, when you talk about the lineup and getting that, you know, the injuries, you never want to have injuries, but injuries early on and those guys coming back like Eblin, like Hamner, and even when Rose went down, it allowed more guys to get at-bats. And now you're seeing, like, hey, if Coach Poe needs a pinch hitter, you know, he knows who he can go to.
Arms out of the bullpen as well. And I'd say just the fact that it's an older, more experienced team on the field, that's helped us in every aspect of the game.
Well, you say older. Let's go to the sophomore, Mr. Guy Lipscomb. I mean, how impressive has the start of the season been for him, especially? I mean, the average is up, but 26 stolen bases out of 30 attempts. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable start for him. Not a surprise for us, though. We've seen that coming over the last couple of years. He dealt with some injuries last year, his freshman year, dealt with a bout of COVID as well that had knocked him out. So his numbers his freshman year weren't reflective of what his athletic ability was. This year, I think, is a much more indicative year of what his athletic ability and his mentality and his skill set is.
Coach, we'll let you go on this. What is Jordan Zuger right now giving you on the mound as he's working into his 4th inning of work today?
The best thing he's doing as a freshman is just having a calm presence out there. He's executing his pitches. He's letting his defense work behind him, other than he just walked that guy. But for the most part, he's tried to control his controllables and not try to do too much.
Coach, thank you for joining us. Best of luck today and the rest of the way for the Bruins.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, our thanks to Dave Jarvis, who is now in his 25th season as the head coach for the Belmont Bruins and has really built up a very consistent winner in Nashville, whether it's in the OVC, like they're finishing out their run now, or next year moving to the Missouri Valley Conference. Keep an eye on Belmont.
Like I said, control his controllables, because that's the part of the game that there's so many things that you can't control. You know, as a pitcher, all you can control is you release the ball where you need to release it. After that, it doesn't matter. You can't control what happens. You know, you make a great pitch, a guy hits a home run. You made the pitch. You know, sometimes the guys are just a little bit better than you at that moment. So, and especially like you said, the emotion, he's not really showing anything. So that's exactly what you want to see.
Second time that Zuger has faced Tommy Seidel. He keeps an eye at first at William Hameter. Gets in front, 1-2. Strikes him out looking. Went with the fastball.
Well, that's what you call paint, Roger. Back to back, 4 seams, down and away, absolutely splits his catcher Campbell. That's beautiful pitching right there.
Framed so well by Campbell too.
That's one of those as a hitter you just go, okay, gonna have to get him next time, because if he throws those pitches again, I won't get him.
3 strikeouts today for Zuger, 2 of them against Tommy Seidel.
You did mention the frame job from Jackson Campbell. And just over the course of the game so far in these 4 innings, he has done a really good job. Early on, we thought that the strike zone was really small. It might have been just because how good he was framing that ball.
2-0 to Drew Williamson. The ground out short his last time up. Now he's ahead in the count, 3-0. And he takes ball 4. Second walk of the inning.
And again, I like the emotion or the non-emotion out there, like nothing's affecting him.
Knocked to right field by Pinckney. There's the second out. Behrens with a good throw back to the infield. Gone. Everything got going for Alabama in the last inning thanks to this man, Bryce Eblin, who led off the 3rd with a single. Now he has 2 on with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. Fouls away a curveball from Schultz. Schultz can get some strikeouts. Last year struck out 4 batters on March 16th against number 2 Vanderbilt. Good Vanderbilt offense that eventually made it to the finals of the College World Series.
You and Gray are going 1. Half will be there.
The 0-2. Foul tip. Just went away from the catcher.
See if that dropping of the ball, just because off from our angle, I didn't even see him drop it. So
yeah,
just being behind him, see if that hurts them. If Bryce Elvin's able to make him pay with a second chance.
In the air to center, Lipscomb has a beat on it, and that will close out the inning as it starts with Tommy Kreider. The other thing I really liked about Hess's time on the mound, that fly into a double play by Campbell closed out the second inning. After that, back-to-back perfect innings. A lot of the innings for Hess so far this year, he's been dealing with traffic on the base paths.
You're right. Again, to see him have some perfect innings, 3 up, 3 down, you know, because a lot of it's been the 2-out walk, maybe get 2 quick outs and then, you know, lose a little bit of concentration. You saw that in the first inning. He walked the guy, gets 2 strikeouts, walks the next one. You know, but Bama's got some talented freshmen. We're seeing one right here, Luke Holman, very polished freshman, little baseball pedigree. Dad played a little pro baseball. He's got a good fastball as well. I mean, we saw really good fastball from Ben Hess up to 95. Luke Holman can get up to about 93, maybe 94. I love the way he pitches the down angle. I mean, he's really straight over the top.
Jack Capobianco at the plate. He had the only hit against Ben Hess in the 4 innings that Hess worked on the mound. He had a double down the right field line back in the second. He and Dominic Temez reunited again after their interesting play at the plate closed out the second inning.
You think Dominic's like, hey man, I know I didn't touch you. Jack Capobianco's like, I know you didn't either. You grabbed my jersey with your hand, man.
Had to sell it though.
Swing cap. Swing cap.
Fastball ran a little in. Now 3 balls and a strike. To left field, Seidel at first came in. Now he has to go back, and it's over his head up against the wall. Capobianco with 2 doubles against the Crimson Tide. For, to this point, the only 2 hits of the game for Belmont.
He was the guy coming in hitting, what, 212, 218? Back-to-back doubles. That play's just misread a little bit by Tommy Seidel. Sometimes that low liner is hard to read.
He's aboard in scoring position with only 1 out. Jackson Campbell, the catcher, to the plate.
Came in with 2 doubles on the year. Now he's got 2 in the first 5 innings.
Against SEC pitching. It was Campbell that flew into that 9-2 double play that closed out the second inning. Solid catcher now in his senior season for Belmont. Another one to right field off the bat of Campbell. Amateur with the grab. Capobianco stays at second. First game back in right field for William Hamiter. He has been working hard today.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want to see. You want to see it. How will that foot hold up? So he's had to run, especially that play. You mentioned the first Capobianco double to down the line. So he's had to run one foul ball he had to run. So he's had to get on his horse too.
Grayson Taylor. One starts with a fastball just off the plate. Not sure where that missed. 2-0.
It's tough because he has the big time down angle, just the way he throws straight over the top. He's a tall guy. If he's able to get that low pitch right there, you get an umpire that can give you a low pitch. Luke Holman can roll because in the breaking ball it becomes really good.
One bounce to third. Zane Denton with the play, and that'll close out a scoreless top of the fifth.
That's an unbelievable play by Zane Denton right there. One hop, off balance, makes the throw, and that keeps that Alabama lead 2-0. But just look at that. Spins around. His body's still going to center field, making the play.
Been an entertaining game so far between Alabama and Belmont. Tightly played on this Tuesday afternoon in Tuscaloosa. Dominic Temez will begin this inning. Crimson Tide broke through. The pair of runs in the bottom of the third. Seen Zane Denton with an RBI single. Same for Jim Jarvis.
The biggest story right there you see is that Ben Hess outing. Career high innings pitch and strikeouts. Set the tone. I mean, a lot of his starts, he's given up runs early. The last two starts, he's been really good for Alabama. I mean, yes, obviously you want to see a guy, this is midweek action. You're not facing the SEC caliber lineups that you would be, but you talk about a guy with that kind of stuff. After the midweek games kind of roll over, you need multiple arms. You need multiple starters, especially if you want to make a run in the SEC tournament. You want to make a run in the postseason play, but also he gives you a power arm, in that bullpen, especially a guy that's extended if something happens to a starter early.
How close could we be to seeing him, you feel like, in SEC play? Not necessarily starting, but even
right,
like you're saying.
I don't think so right now. I think that's going to be a thing. Nice shot right there for Temez up the middle. I think that's going to be a thing later in the year. Once the midweeks, I think the last 2 weekends of the season, you might not have any midweek games. That might be when you get an opportunity to see him in. I'd be willing to bet that Coach Jackson and Coach Bohannon really pick and choose their spots to put him in there. A game that's necessarily out of hand either way. Not necessarily just throw him in the fire. Here you go, buddy. Same
Down
situation.
6,
Let's
6.
go.
Well, this is a team that is playing better and developing as the year goes along. And right now the Tide winners of 6 straight. On a third base side, foul by Jarvis. Tide team that went 10-8 during the month of March. Talked about had a tough go of it with some midweek losses to UT Martin, Southern Miss, North Alabama, UAB. This is bunted on the grass. And the play is made. A good sacrifice bunt for Jim Jarvis. Puts Temez in scoring position at second. Right now, Lance, Crimson Tide 6-1, playing really good baseball here in the month of April.
Well, yeah, to me, obviously it started at Mississippi State when they won 8 of their last 9. But think about, if they would have had a guy that could have finished the game, the first 2 games against Mississippi State, you're looking at a team that's 9-3 in conference and first place in the SEC West. But the fact that they took those big-time uppercuts, losing 2 games, walk-off fashion, multiple run leads, and still came back, fought, won Sunday.
Hodo just fouled down the right field line. Otherwise, it's a 3-0 game.
And then after they won that Sunday game, has won every midweek since, won the series against A&M, and then absolutely took it to Ole Miss. I mean, that was a series that it could have, after you have the lead, you give it up, it could have easily gone to the home team. They have the crowd, they have the momentum, but Alabama still stayed hard, fought. And right, they're playing really good. But you mentioned some of those midweek losses. I mean, one of those was Southern Miss on the road. Right now is number 11 in the country.
In a tight game.
Right. Yeah, it was a 3-2 game, something like that.
Yeah,
I think it came down. The
3-2.
closer was in the ninth, and you had runners on base.
Also, that loss to UAB was in Birmingham at Regents Park. That was a 5-4 loss. So this has been a team that has been right there. We've talked a lot about all the one-run games Alabama's played this year. So it's now down to his last strike, 1-2. 1 point leading the nation. May still be.
Yeah, I think they are. I think if not tied with UAB, you mentioned at one point, a nice changeup right there by Schultz. But it comes down to be, you got to have a solid back end of the bullpen if you're going to play in those one-run games and be able to win more than you lose. You know, saw Dylan Ray get a save on Saturday. He has a couple saves, but a lot of them have been that 3-inning finish it out type of save. He got the save, came in the ninth, needed him. Landon Green did he get the save on Sunday? I think it was a 4-run lead. I think it was a 7-3. So, but to still see Landon Green, a guy that was so good last year in the back end of the bullpen, right in front of Chase Lee. If Alabama can get him rolling like he did last year, better watch out.
Schultz against Hodo. Up the middle to the shortstop, Taylor. Tosses out Hodo once again. Temez moves up 90 feet to third base. And another opportunity for the Crimson Tide to cash in with a runner on base. And Zane Denton at the plate. But he may not get to face Schultz. Coach Gora, the pitching coach for Belmont, out of the dugout. They've had a lefty loosening in the bullpen. Denton is a switch hitter, so they may want to turn him around. There's the bullpen for the Bruins. Dominic Barada warming up.
Yeah, you mentioned turning him around. He is hitting .314 versus right-handed pitchers in the left side of the batter's box, and if the left-handed pitchers come in, he's only at .229. So I think you might be right. I think we might be seeing a pitching change going to the lefty.
Well, for the moment, it will be Schultz staying in.
Well, I wonder if that's a, you know, out there, I think you got the senior on the mound, you walk out there, you have a conversation, you look in the eyes. Guy says, look, I want this hitter. Sometimes as a coach, you gotta trust your player.
First pitch popped up, but it will escape the field of play. And the kid gets a souvenir from the event staff here at Alabama. San Francisco Giants game.
I wonder if it's a Giants fan or that's just his Little League team.
To center, Lipscomb was playing back. This will drop in. 3-0 Crimson Tide. Once again, an RBI single, bringing home Dominic Temez, but once again, it's from Zane Denton.
You know, the guy just keeps hitting, and he is what makes Alabama's lineup go. He just kind of sprays that ball. It's not hit hard, it's just hit right. This is one of those off the end of the bat, just enough. Same result, though, as that rocket ship in the gap when he gets through out at second base. Still an RBI single.
Time called. Here comes Coach Gore. It looks like they will bring in the lefty Barada to face lefty batting William Hamiter. Leadoff single for Temez, eventually paid off. Tide moved him around with a sac bunt and a ground out. St. Denton brings him home. Dominic Barada coming in for Belmont. We'll tell you more about him when we return to Tuscaloosa in just a moment. Dominic Barada taking over on the mound for the Belmont Bruins in this bottom of the fifth, trying to keep this game right where it is at 3-0. He was at Eastern Florida State College before he made his way to Nashville, Tennessee. Facing William Hamiter just outside for ball one, but Barada 3-0 on the season. Made a couple of starts. This will be his 12th game total that he's worked for the Bruins. Smoked into center by Hamiter. William Hamiter liked that lefty-on-lefty matchup.
Such a quiet swing. I mean, just the approach is always, you know, not a lot of movement, and that's what you want to see. You want to be consistent hitting, take away a lot of the movement in your swing.
We'll get some strikeouts, but 22 hits, 24 innings.
14 walks as well.
Tommy Seidel. He's glad that he's not going up against Jordan Zuger, the starter, who struck him out twice, once swinging in the second. Last time up, struck out looking in the fourth.
That one in the fourth was a beautiful at-bat by Zuger. Two perfectly placed fastballs down and away at the knees on the black. Even if Tommy Seidel swings, nothing you can really do with those.
2 on with 2 out. Seidel on one big bounce to short, knocked down by Taylor. He makes the play. Grayson Taylor, the shortstop for Belmont, keeps this a 3-0 score.
You talk about defense. Fielding 983, Grayson Taylor. This is unbelievable. Backhanded dive, and look at the hop up over his head. Wherewithal, knowing where he's at, gets up, fires the strike. Look at this bounce. Nice work, Grayson Taylor.
Well, Coleman had a scoreless 5th inning. He's back to work in the 6th for the Crimson Tide, facing the top third of the order. Third trip through for Belmont. Shacklett gets it going. Curveball starts him out. Walk and a strikeout for Shacklett at the top of the order for Belmont today.
That's a really good one. I mentioned earlier when Zuger did it, freshmen, young guys have a hard time with that breaking ball down. That was perfectly put after a get me over breaking ball, because you could see right there, Shacklett went to swing and he knew it was going to be down, and he just kind of lazily finished it off to foul it, but nice spot. Not that one, though.
Off the bricks.
Yeah, there's no way you're going to be able to pitch with that one. Fastball trying to go out, trying to get up to a little bit. You see Tamez didn't, he was kind of out of his crotch a little bit.
Umpire C.J. Burdett stayed locked in. Didn't look up.
Nope. Hey, that's what he has to do.
Back to the fastball, 2-2.
Roger, that might have been the first time I've ever seen the ball hit the lights.
Had a very quick carom back into the stands.
Usually it goes right through because it's a bunch of lights, you know, not necessarily connected to each other. So O's hat. We got a giant, black and orange, but we got a Giants and an O's.
Let's reach for and fouled away. I'm going to go with you. Probably more so Little League teams.
That was my favorite hat, though, as a player. We wore that on Friday nights in Baltimore, Friday home games. It was the black hat, the orange bill, and it just had an O with an apostrophe S.
2-2 to Shacklett. Full count. Walk and a strikeout for Shacklett today. He's really making Holman work. Payoff pitch. Excuse me, check swing, foul ball. Ninth pitch of the at-bat. Shallow left center. Jim Jarvis nearly had it all. And hopefully Jarvis is all right. Shacklet aboard to begin the 6th inning. Jim Jarvis gave his all to try and make this grab.
Hey, Roger, you talk about effort plays. This is all-out effort. Look, that's full speed, sprint, back to the plate. Almost comes over that. I think he comes up with that if he doesn't have to hit the ground right there. And for Alabama, you're just hoping that he didn't aggravate anything on that left arm when he landed on it.
Sean Stryker, the athletic trainer. Here's what he needed to, saw what he needed to, and Jarvis will stay in.
You think when those guys lay that arm out and they dive and they land on that arm, you know, all your weight is just going right to it. Those almost back-to-back innings of unbelievable plays by both team shortstops.
Single to begin the inning for the Bruins. Now John Behrens to the plate. Chopped up the middle. Eblin to Jarvis. Behrens will be safe at first. Solid work up the middle by the Crimson Tide.
Watch this. I mean, this is, what, 2 pitches after he was injured. Nice play by Eblin. But look, it's just a spin move and just trusting that you know where you're at. And that's just countless reps of just fielding the ball, and almost reps of like during batting practice where you're just playing around, where you catch the ball, you spin, and you know that where first base is. You know, that's why coaches like to see players, you know, taking balls during batting practice live, not just off the fungo, you know, because routine balls like that, just being able to make those types of plays, because when the game comes, you know, the fungo hitter's not chopping balls up the middle and you're turning 2 on that. So those are the game situations that you can practice on during batting practice.
Crimson Tide have done a good job today against Guy Lipscomb, the center fielder, hitting .393 coming into this game. Runner goes, that's rolled foul. Ball and a strike to Lipscomb. Second nationally with 28 stolen bases this season, but today kept off the base paths, can't do any damage.
I mean, the guy in front of him, the guy right now on base still can run. Like, that's the whole part, is this whole lineup can run. They have 2 guys with, you know, they're 1 for 1. But the fact that, I mean, they've only been thrown out 12 times in 78 attempts.
Smart. Smart base running by the Bruins. And again, Behrens over at first. He's got 12 on the year. Has only been caught stealing twice.
Yeah, that's why that chopper up the middle, I mean, Jarvis made that play a lot closer at first on that double play. I mean, a guy like Behrens just being able to get out of the box, especially from the left side.
To left field. Seidel will let it drop in for a hit. Played that well, though. If he lays out, that could get past him and go all the way to the wall.
Yeah, you're talking a 3-0 ball game. That's exactly the way you want to play that as a pitcher. Yeah, you know, you could have caught that, but you're right. The smart play, because if he dives, there is nobody within 100 feet of him to help him back that ball up, and especially with the speed of Lipscomb at the plate. Behrens there, you're talking probably a 3-1 ball game and a guy on third base with 1 out.
One of the big bats in the lineup, Brody Heaton, cleanup batter, first baseman. Holman starts him with a strike. Walking a strikeout for him today. He's come a long way, according to Coach Jarvis. Had a torn hip labrum last year. It affected his mobility. Played through it. Got it surgically repaired. Now covering a lot of ground. He's a very tall first baseman, 6'6", 230.
Good breaks right there, buddy.
Nice play by Dominic Temez. That block, I mean, but you saw how fast he got to it, because you got not only just good base runners, instinctive base runners that want to move up.
Step off the rubber after Behrens was dancing off second. Back to the fastball, 1-2.
You know, Heat coming up, looking at the position, going, okay, you got one out, chance for a double play. First baseman, big guy. He's 7 for 8. He's only grounded into 2 double plays all year, so there's another guy that can run him. Their first 4 guys can really run.
Trying the bank ball low, 2-2. This could turn out to be a big outing for Holman if he's able to get out of a few jams, get him closer to more time in SEC play coming out of the bullpen.
To me, this is a big pitch. You don't want to go 3-2 with 1 out, because I'd be willing to bet both guys are running.
And they are, as that's fouled away.
Actually ran a pitch too before I was thinking. And that's a lot of it. That's the middle infield right there, not really necessarily holding him on. Behrens is out there. You're thinking, I mean, at a second base, if you can get that walking lead, if the guy never makes you stop and you keep gaining ground toward third base, that's how you're going to steal. That's the good base stealers will keep trying to move. So just watch how Behrens takes his lead. He just keeps trying to dance around out there.
Good, Brody, good. Great job. Great job, Brody. Good battle, Brody.
Heaton really battling. Runners in scoring position. The Bruins 0 for 4 today. Alabama has taken advantage, 3 for 7. Two-two. Curveball bent a little too far inside. Full count.
My guess is both Behrens and Lipscomb are going to be running.
Payoff pitch. Knocked high in the air to left. Seidel sizes it up with the second catch, and the runners will have to go back to their bases. Behrens to second, Lipscomb to first. And the gritty.
Boy, Brody, he just missed that. You got 2 guys running. It's 3-0 ball game, man. It feels a little bit more out of hand for Alabama, just the way they've been hitting the ball, but they're still 1 swing of the bat away, and I thought the way Brody Heaton left that ball, a lot of times that ball can carry, but the wind's blowing in here at Sewell Thomas today. Especially as the temperatures increase, usually the ball starts to carry a lot more.
It's up to Logan Jarvis. Runners going, Temez to third. Ball got away from Denton. Runners will be safe. Double steal for Behrens at third and Lipscomb at second.
Ball and the glove got away from him. Throw a little bit up the line. If that ball is right over the bag, Zane Denton's able to catch that. And a nice job. That perfect pitch to throw. You see, as Denton's running to third base, his momentum is going toward the dugout, and he had to reach back over. If it's right at him, that's an out. You see his glove falls off. But it was a perfect pitch to throw on, up and away from a lefty, so you got a clear path to throw.
Logan Jarvis at the plate. 2 in scoring position. It's a 2-0 count. Now 2-1. First pitch fastball from Hunter Hoops. Logan Jarvis, the coach's son. His dad, Dave, now in his 25th season as the head coach in Belmont. So Logan has grown up all around this Belmont program. Had some D1 offers before ultimately deciding did want to play for his dad, also major in music business. That is a great school to do at Belmont.
Yeah, that's one of the, if we could have kept Coach Jarvis a little bit longer, that would have been one of my questions. You know, what is it like to coach your son? I just did the Kansas-Missouri game, and Coach Price, he has, all 3 of his sons came through, and now one of his sons coaches. So just, because you spend so much time away from the family.
Check swing there. Full count.
You know, as a coach, you're spending so much time at the ballpark, on the road, away from the family. You know, you miss a lot of your boys' games. And so to be able to have him there, now you're not missing any games now, right? You get to see him up close and personal.
Love what Coach said. He said, it wasn't a hard decision for me. It was just hard for him to determine, okay, do I really want to put up with Dad all the time? And now Coach as well. Got a big spot here against Hoops. 2 in scoring position with 2 out. Works the walk. That'll load the bases for Belmont.
Hunter actually did the hard part. He got back into a 2-2 count when he was 2-0 through 2 straight fastballs for strikes. It looked like he started to kind of nibble a little bit once he got to 2-2.
How hard is that coming out of the bullpen, inheriting accounts,
Oh,
whether
big
it's good
time.
or bad?
You're right.
And normally it's not good.
Obviously, well, Mississippi State, Coach Cohen, he's now their AD. He was really big on. He'd bring guys in. It'd be like 1-2. Like, I just got the 1-2, and now you're bringing somebody else in to get a strikeout.
Tommy Kreider to third. Denton makes the play, and Alabama escapes a Player of the Year candidate with what he's done so far.
Talk about impact transfers.
Going from Sanford down to the Plains. And Blake Purnell, who ran into some problems here in Tuscaloosa, the closer for the Gators. He ends up being the co-freshman of the week, helping Florida do really well against the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Yeah, how about that? Arkansas, 13 straight conference series wins. All of last year, all the 3 this year, and they go to Florida, which Florida had just come off being swept. They were reeling. Florida takes it to them. I mean, that just shows you that any given weekend, doesn't matter home, away, ranked or not, any team can get you. Because you couldn't ask for a better time to go to Florida. They already just got swept by Georgia, their big rival. You're going there, you're playing good, they're not, and then all of a sudden they take the series. After Arkansas wins game 1.
Prada got the final out of the 5th inning, allowed a single to Hamiter. Seidel grounded out. Here's a bouncing ball to second. Capobianco, 1 away. Friday night, we'll have a top 20 baseball matchup for you right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Speaking of the Razorbacks, it's number 6 Arkansas hosting number 15 LSU. Second game of their big 3-game series at Baum-Walker Stadium. Coverage will begin at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. You know, the Hog Pen is going to be rowdy for that matchup against LSU.
That's been basically your 2 premier programs in the SEC West for the last probably 10+ years. So, you know, there's not a lot of love lost between those 2 teams. If LSU can just get some consistent starting pitching, their lineup is really, really good. They do that, they'll be scary.
Hey, you got to love the play of Dylan Cruz and Trey Morgan. Jacob Berry transferred in from Arizona. He's been hitting well.
K. Doty, you just start naming names and then up and down their lineup. But that's, you know, outside of Tennessee, that probably is the best lineup in the SEC, which, I mean, Tennessee's lineup is just scary all the way 1 through 9.
We'll be talking a little more about the Vols in the next few innings because that's what Alabama's looking ahead to coming up this weekend. Bryce Eblin has made this Alabama lineup so much better since he's returned from a shoulder injury. Missed a lot of the month of March. Singled back in the 3rd inning, that sparked Alabama to 2 runs. Fouls that one away, 1-2. Just fell. Brown come in and filled up the strike zone. One, 2. 2-2. To left field, Shacklett for the final out as Alabama is set down in order for just the second time today. Reaching the top of the 7th, Alabama up 3-0 because the Tide Bats got it going in the bottom of the 3rd. First of all, an RBI single by Jim Jarvis, followed by Zane Denton doing what he does best, just driving in runs for the Crimson Tide. That made it a 2-0 score. Then 5th inning, guess who? Zane Denton. RBI single brings home Temez, and that's been all the scoring so far. Crimson Tide have not had to break out long ball or anything like that, just some solid work at the plate, and then Lance, the other part of the equation, really solid pitching.
Yeah, to me, every game starts with the starting pitcher. He sets the tone. Ben Hess did absolutely that for Alabama. Career high 4 innings pitched, 7 punch outs, and like only 1 hit. And you mentioned he pitches his first couple outings. He pitched a lot of times with traffic on the bases. Right there, 1 hit, 2 walks, 3 base runs in 4 innings. Alabama will take that.
Hunter Hoops now working, got out of the big jam a moment ago in the 6th inning. On a strike to Jack Capobianco. He has half of the hits today for Belmont. He collected a double down the right field line in the 2nd inning. That was off Ben Hess, and then against Luke Holman, he doubled to left field.
Can he double to dead center? That's the only place he had hit.
It's the challenge. Here's the 1-1. And bends in for a strike. Bounce to first, Corbin Scott, first base coach for the Bruins.
Good. Good, baby. Keep sitting, keep sitting. Do it, baby. Good, that boy.
Full count. Capobianco making Hoops work for the final strike. Trying to look at first out here in the 7th.
I'd look for nothing but fastballs. This is a situation in the game. You don't want to be walking the leadoff hitter, so you got to trust the fastball 3-2. Fastball's been 89 to 92, so spot it up, see if you can get him out. There you go.
To left center. Seidel with a spin. Here comes the play at second. Eblin's there. The tag. Capobianco is out. Picks up the single. Thrown out, trying to advance to second. Excellent work done by the Crimson Tide.
Well, I like the hustle and I like the effort because you're trying to get into scoring position with nobody out. The way guy can move you over, but an unbelievable play by Tommy Seidel. I think he heard us talking about you got to get that one to center. And so when he hit it to center, you threw in left. I thought that was more dead center. No, just kidding. But he heard us. He's like, I'm going to go get that third double.
This is for Lance Cormier up there saying I can't get a double to center.
If he would have hit a double to center, that would have been unbelievable. You're going to talk about a guy who can spray the ball over the park right here. Bam, bam.
Second outfield assist by Tommy Seidel this year. That's felt straight back.
Second outfield assist by Bama.
Saw one from William Hammiter earlier that helped get Bruins off the scoreboard in the 2nd inning.
You know, Roger, right now, Dominic Temez, playing catcher is tough, right? You got to block a lot of balls. The ball just foul ball off the net, came back, hit him in the foot. So he's limping around. The home plate umpire C.J. Burdett's giving him more time. He's limping around the plate, but you don't expect the ball to come back in a little friendly fire off the back of the net.
Hoops in front of 2. Hoops, there it is. Sunday morning, we'll have the SEC Women's Golf Championship from Legacy Course at Greystone Golf and Country Club in Birmingham. Coverage will begin at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 a.m. Central. That's right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Time for the Golf Championship. We're getting closer to the Spring Sports Championships in the SEC all across sports. Grayson Taylor taking that one hands high, 101.
Still can't get over the play he made at shortstop.
Two and two to Taylor. Hoops looking for a scoreless top of the seventh. Yes, Capobianco started the inning with a single thrown out, trying to extend that to a double. Strikeout Campbell. And the 2-2. Chopped to short, Jim Jarvis. Got it. And the inning is over. Senior from Indianapolis. Transferred in to Belmont from Brown. So you've got two Ivy League graduates in this ball game. Dusty Baird from Brown and Tommy Seidel from Harvard.
See, that's the top of the strike zone strike that I think that is just not getting called.
Green one to Temez. Baird stands at 6'8". Second baseman Capobianco finally found it, puts it away. So the Crimson Tide hoping to put this one in the win column and then load up the bus, or maybe they're flying, but they'll be heading up to Knoxville coming up this weekend for 3 games against the #1 ranked team in the country, the Tennessee Volunteers.
Yeah, you can say, look at that. Leading D1. This is not leading the conference. This is leading all of Division I baseball. Home runs, slugging, on base. Then the pitching staff is good. So this is a team that's first in the conference in average, first in ERA. They lead the conference in stolen bases. They're 5th in defense, but still, you're talking about they can hit, they can run, they can pitch it, make the plays, everything that you need. I mean, they are built to last, especially as a #1 team.
One out single by Jim Jarvis, who's put together a good game, 2 for 3. So the Tide will be at Tennessee coming up again April 15th through the 17th, Easter weekend. Then home against UAB for a midweek next week. And then after that, home against Georgia, at South Carolina, LSU. SEC baseball, there are no breaks in the schedule, but this is another really tough stretch for Alabama.
Well, I mean, that's what we talked about, that for Alabama to go to Ole Miss, who 2 weeks ago was #1 in the country before Tennessee went there and swept. So, I mean, think about that. Back-to-back weekends, Ole Miss has been swept at home. How many times do you think you've seen that? And you won't see that in Coach Bianco's career again. But Bama having to go on the road again to Tennessee, but they've already been to #1 Texas this year, so they got that kind of feeling of traveling to face the #1 team in the country. They played really well, tough conditions, weather-wise, but, you know, doing that once gives you a little bit of experience. Tennessee looked a little human last weekend, not necessarily, I mean, I think they had a 4-3 game on Sunday, but the other games weren't as close, but they had, Missouri had leads, I think, in all 3 games.
Early,
so
yeah.
That's a step in the right direction for other teams to try to take down Tennessee.
Well, that's because their weekend rotation, Chase Burns on Friday, Chase Dolander on Saturday, Drew Beam on Sunday. All 3 of them are on the midseason watch list for the Golden Spikes Award. the entire rotation.
Yeah, how about that? And 2 of them are freshmen.
Right.
That's when you have freshmen coming into play, and that's the whole part is sooner or later, are they going to have a freshman moment? Because it's bound to happen. You see it all the time, and then they learn from that moment and are able to move past it. But they haven't had that moment yet this year.
Pinch hitter Diodati grounding into an inning double play. That closes out the 7th. Starting with Shacklett. Singled last time up. Fouls the first one away.
Perfect situation. Bring Hunter Furtado in. You got 3 straight lefties,
Including 2 of the best in the OVC coming into today. It's been tied to even the count. 1-2. 94-mile-an-hour fastball by Furtado, who is in his first season wearing a crimson uniform after he spent last year pitching in the ACC at Wake Forest. One of the talented players Alabama brought in using the transfer portal. Now 2-2.
Good check swing right there. Shacklett, again, when you got a power arm with the fastball like that, you can run it up to 96. Probably sitting 92, 93 right now, but then he breaks off a slider. Just so tough to lay off of.
And then comes right back with a fastball.
Right, that's at 94. So then that's why you're seeing late. So you're talking about pitching. How do you attack the hitters? You try to mess up the timing, right? Speed them up, slow them down, move the ball in and out, make sure, kind of change their eye level. So we've seen a breaking ball down. We've seen fastball up. Another breaking ball down.
I've enjoyed watching Shacklett's at bats. Doesn't wear any batting gloves, goes to the dirt a lot. This guy has that old school feel to him.
I say, what they call that? Old school.
Runs inside to make it a full count. Always going to the dirt in between pitches. Been really quick with the bat as he gets ready. Payoff pitch. Lead-off walk, and Shacklett is aboard to begin the 8th.
That's another one for Hunter Furtado. That's his 10th walk. With stuff like that, those walk totals have to go down. That's where he's going to get beat, and he's gotten beat with the home run with a guy on base, and so that's why you see the ERA, because he's pitched way better than his ERA shows. But I mean, he'll showcase a 93 to 95 mile an hour fastball, and a hard breaking slider is tough to hit, but sometimes he just doesn't trust his stuff enough and continue to stay in the strike zone.
Five stolen bases for Shacklett this season. Just know that the pressure will be applied by the Bruins, who have twice as many stolen bases as games played this year. 66 stolen bags. This is game number 33. Rolled to Eblin. Second for 1. Crimson Tide glad to get the lead runner retired.
Just off the bat, I didn't know if Eblin was going to try to get that lead runner. Nice play, but tough play, because look, as he's spinning, you got to worry about Shacklett getting in the way. And then again, Jarvis just trying to make it happen, but Barron's run's way too good out of the box. I thought just the way Eblin approached the ball, he was just going to take the first sure out at first base, but as a pitcher, I'm thankful he gets that lead runner.
Shows how strong he is, because he didn't have much body weight behind that throw. That was all arm.
Well, I wasn't necessarily worried about the throw, the arm strength. It's more of the runner is in the way, because as his body's coming across, if Shacklett just goes a little bit toward the right, toward that other side of the bag, he might have, then all of a sudden as you go to throw and you're the second baseman and that runner's just slightly in your way, it might tend you to release the ball a little bit up and watch that ball sail.
So after the first pitch to Lipscomb, Jason Jackson comes out and everyone will talk things over. Crimson Tide have had some bullpen activity getting in this top of the 8th inning. Braylon Myers has been warming up along with Brock Guffey. Guffey the lefty, Myers the right-hander. It's 2-0 to Lipscomb.
I think what you're seeing now is as it gets later in the season, you're now Alabama top 25. Now you're ranked. So you talk about trying to raise that RPI for postseason play. Last year they had a really high RPI, even though they weren't winning as many ball games. This time, now they're, top, second in conference, tied for second in conference, but the RPI is still in the low 40s. So they're trying to raise that. So you've got to be able to win these midweek games. And once you get the lead, you're seeing guys like Furtado, Guffey, Hoops in those games. I mean, that's weekend relievers for Alabama.
Especially against this opponent in Belmont. This is a team that's already 7-2 in the OVC. They're going to have a very good chance to win the league. Now 3-1 to Lipscomb.
Walk right here gives Brody Heaton another opportunity. He had 2 men on. He just missed that ball to left field, that home run.
Second walk of the inning by Furtado. Well, similar opportunity for Brody Heaton, and once again, it's with Behrens and Lipscomb on the base paths. They both had double steal while he was at the plate last time up. Or actually it was on Jarvis, but both showed they can steal bases back in the 6th inning. Already dancing against Furtado here. Starts with the fastball for a strike.
Yeah, that's a nice job by Furtado. You saw him look and then look again, and that made Behrens stop at second base. You got to make that runner's feet stop, and that way he's standing still. Hard to run when you're standing still. They want to keep moving forward. You see those small little steps.
That throw sailed away from Furtado. Luckily, Emblin knocked it down.
I'd like to see more daylight moves like that. Just all around baseball. You see Evelyn flashes the hand. The second baseman will flash the hand. The pitcher's supposed to turn right when you see the hand flash. Shortstop would use his glove, and you just call that daylight. You don't have to put it on. You just sit there. You're looking at the guy. If the infielder feels like he can make it there faster, he'll take off.
Runners go. Temez with a throw to third. In there safely. Behrens and Lipscomb once again with a double steal, and that is Belmont baseball.
Really could expect to see that, especially with the right-hander. They tried that with Jarvis at the plate, and he would have been out if it would have been a better throw right there. As a right-hander, you got protection.
To third, Denton will help Alabama get the second out, but there is a run for Belmont as Behrens crosses the plate.
Well, that's so important right there for the Bruins offense. Get on the board, chip away, even though this is a jam shot to third base. The speed of your offense puts 2 guys into scoring position, and a nice play by Zane Denton to get the out. But what it does is it makes it a little bit easier. You don't have to get 2 guys on to bring up the tying run.
Also on the play, Lipscomb had to stay at second base. So Denton got the second out. Now with Belmont down to his final out in the top of the 8th inning, we will not see the lefty batting Logan Jarvis. Instead, a pinch hitter will come to the plate for the Bruins. Mason Landers.
Obviously, that's baseball. You take the left-on-left matchup out and put a righty up there. But
Balk called on Furtado. That'll send Lipscomb to third base.
I think that Jarvis is going to, Dad, why you didn't believe I could do it, Dad?
That's when it gets into the tough part of coaching your son.
That's when it's not coach, it's dad, right? I'm telling you what speed can do. Just playing around. Lipscomb, 30 stolen bases, only caught stealing 4. Or actually 28. They're putting looking at our stat broadcast, throwing 2 stolen bases on the double steal.
Big swing and a miss. Good fastball just off the plate.
Talk about a tough AB. Sitting on the bench, 7 innings. Go pinch hit. Lefty throwing 95, 94.
Sophomore from Shelbyville. Strikes out. Thompson a curveball for a strike. He had a tough outing on Sunday against Tennessee Tech as the Golden Eagles won the final game of that series by an 8-1 score. So hoping he can bounce back today. Now the 2-2. Denton was out in front, strikes out.
We don't see too many 68-mile-an-hour curveballs anymore, especially as guys are starting to throw harder. They're kind of going away from that overhand curveball. This is beautiful pitch. Look at that. In the strike zone, shoulder to knees.
12-6 curveball.
Absolutely.
That's against Alabama's best contact hitter. Now William Hamilton.
It was the same pitch. He threw it to Zane Denton earlier in that bat. Then it looked like he went at a change-up again and then mixed in a fastball and then went right back to that 68 hook. Talk about a 68-mile-an-hour curveball makes that fastball, even if it's 86, it makes it seem a lot harder.
Once again, late on the fastball, 1-2. Sky high, but foul. Speaking of this weekend, Alabama against Tennessee, mentioned the very good starting rotation for the Volunteers that Alabama will have to face. And then in the bullpen, a lot of weapons as well for head coach Tony Vitello, pitching coach Frank Anderson, including Ben Joyce, who's going to have a fastball that's been clocked as high as 104 miles per hour this season.
And they did it twice, back-to-back pitches.
That breaking ball sent to center. Lipscomb with out number 2. Ben Joyce, part of that Tennessee bullpen that has been so good this season, helping the Vols have the best ERA in baseball, 1.89, nearly a full run better than UCLA.
I was about to say, that's not even close. I mean, UCLA is a historically dominant pitching staff. Southern Miss has been really good the last probably 10 years under Coach Berry, having a lot of outstanding arms, but to be that far ahead of everybody. Roger, man, when you pull up the stats, you're talking 2 guys on the whole out of all there. Let's see, look like 20 guys have got outs. 2 guys have an ERA over a 3.8.
That's it.
And those guys only have 3 2/3 innings combined. So you give them another shot, they probably go 3 more innings, and those ERAs are back down. So just shows you how dominant everybody has been. You talk about Ben Joyce, he's still got a 0 ERA in his 11 2/3.
Drew Williamson at the plate for the Crimson Tide. It's going to be a fascinating series. Alabama against Tennessee. All games will be on SEC Network Plus. Friday night, Saturday night, and then Easter Sunday afternoon. Williamson down to his last strike. Hubble's 0-2. Look at first. Checking on Tommy Seidel, leads Alabama with 9 stolen bags this season. Another look at first.
Tommy Seidel trying to do his best Belmont. Impressing over there, dancing around like we've seen Behrens and Lipscomb do.
Got him with the curveball.
Ran into his high school coach, Jake Smith, former Alabama third baseman. Ran into him this weekend. The Hoover Met, a little 9U. I think he was going to watch some 8U action. Big old tournament at the Hoover Met complex.
It's a big old pop-up down the third base line. Denton giving good chase along with Temez, and that's just to the netting.
I don't know if Temez is able to catch that, even if it's fair, because it would have been right on the inside of the dugout, but he was there, and that's the part about that ball being so high. You can get under it, find, situate yourself right on the edge of the dugout and be able to reach. Talking probably about 6-7 inches, that ball would have been inside the Bama dugout instead of on the net.
Ryder down to his last strike. He's been 0 for 3 today. And he strikes out. Myers gets this inning going.
That's a beautiful pitch right there, 74 miles an hour. And again, not in front of the plate. That ball goes to the dirt behind the plate, so the hitter sees it. He sees it up. It looks appealing, and then once he goes to swing, that's when the break starts to happen. A lot of times you think, again, I mentioned another freshman, young guys, both Holman and him have made nice pitches behind the plate. So did Zuger in the first inning, but you see a lot of times these young freshmen bounce that ball a foot or 2 feet in front of the plate.
10 strikeouts for this Alabama staff, just allowing a run on 5 hits. Has this been one of the better pitch games by Alabama all year?
Really has, and when you're talking outside of Hoops and Furtado, you got 3 freshmen going out there. And so just getting guys multiple innings, getting that experience is what Alabama's needed to do.
That was a really good curveball.
Yeah, anytime you see the catcher like double pump, and not just one pump, he did it again because he's like, wait up, he's got to be calling that a strike. And when I say freshman bounce the ball, I know from experience because I think I led the nation in wild pitches my freshman year, because that was the one thing I had trouble with going, because for the most part you just do it for a strike in high school, and if your curveball is good enough, they couldn't hit it. You get to college, the coach said bounce it. I'm like, bounce it? All right, I'll make sure it bounces.
Capobianco has been one of the hitters for Belmont today. 3 of the 5 hits in this game. That one bounced away, 2-2. Tide hopefully continue their winning ways, make it 7 straight victories for the trip to Knoxville. Showdown with #1 Tennessee this weekend. Zane Denton. 2 gone.
Just what you said, trying to get that 7th in a row, that'd be 9 out of 10. I mean, if you're having to go to the #1 team in the country, who most analysts and people believe that have been around college baseball believe they might be the best college baseball team right now that they've seen, just basically having everything that you can imagine, from the hitting, the pitching, the defense, the running, you're hot yourself, right? 9 of 10, exactly. You're playing ball like you want to play. You believe, you have a lot of confidence. You went on the road, got a sweep at a very hostile environment in Ole Miss. So right now for Alabama, I think they're feeling good about themselves to be able to roll into Knoxville.
Blake Barton announced as a pinch hitter for Belmont. Bruins down to their final out. .238 hitter this season, no homers, 1 RBI. Up the middle. missed inside. Foul territory. Williamson over. Into green chairbacks. Seen Taylor today go 0 for 3, but he's put the ball in play each time. Groundouts every time he's been up. Strike 2. Chance for Myers to end this game right here. The 1-2. Off the plate, hoping Taylor would chase, but he laid off.
That's where he's looking at, trying to find that same pitch that he struck the last guy out with, that 74-mile-an-hour pitch on the plate, just a little bit off. Hooked that one a little bit too much into the left-handed batter's box.
Bard at first with 2 gone. Ball game. Braylon Myers.